Good morning, learners and viewers. Welcome to the session of Masters of Business Administration. Today we will be discussing about research methodology for management decisions. That is your paper MMPC 50. Initially, block 1 is there, which includes that is basically introduction to research methodology. Unit 1 is research methodology and overview. Unit 2 is steps for research process. And Unit 3 is research design. So we will start with research methodology and overview. When managers use research, they are applying the methods of science to the art of management. All business undertakings operate in the world of uncertainty. There is no unique method which can entirely eliminate uncertainties. But research methodology, more than any other procedure, can minimize the degree of uncertainty. Thus, it reduces the probability of making a wrong choice amongst alternative courses of action. This is particularly significant in the light of increasing competition and growing size, which makes the task of choosing the best course of action difficult for any business enterprise. It is imperative that any type of organization in the present environment needs systematic supply of information coupled with tools of analysis for making sound decisions which involve minimum risk. It is in this context that the research methodology plays a very important role. In this unit, we will discuss at length the importance of research in decision making by delineating all its relevant elements. Now, what is research? Research is an art of doing a scientific investigation. Dictionary meaning of research is a detailed study of a subject, especially in order to discover a new information or reach a new understanding. To study a subject carefully or in detail, especially in order to discover new information or understanding the subject better. According to Kothari, research is the pursuit of trust with the help of study, observation, comparison, and experiment, the search for knowledge through objective and systematic method of finding a solution to a problem. In general, research may be defined as careful study regarding a particular concern or problem using scientific methods. One can see that a detailed study is required in every practical condition to attain a better result. Thus, at any work which is made on such study to attain a better result may be termed as research. We can say that research is a well defined set of activities done to study and develop a model or procedure technique to get a result to a realistic problem which is supported by relevant documents such as literatures, data, etc. in such a way that its objectives are optimized and future recommendations can be made for its implementations. A systematic procedure, models, and techniques used to find a best result of a research program is termed as research methodology. What is the need of research? Let us take up a working condition in the field of health. The observer can be a doctor, supervisor, a frontline worker, administrator or planner, community health worker, nurse, social worker, or any other paramedic. Some of the question may arise in the mind of the above persons in position. How many patients I meet every day? What is the cause of their conditions? What are the general symptoms and conditions among the patients? Do some patients take the treatment and some don't? What are the common conditions among the patients? Are the patients satisfied by the services rendered to them? But these are the basic questions which come into the mind. The need of research arrives to discover the answer to these questions by the application and use of the scientific methods. The main aim is to reach to a conclusion and the truth which is hidden and which has not been taken care of it. Every research study had its own specific purpose and thought, and after doing through the objectives of the research in details. The question that why one undertakes a research is of fundamental importance. The aim behind the research may be either one or combinations of the following conditions. To attain a research degree along with its substantial benefits, to face a challenge in solving the unanswered queries with the practical application, passion to be of service to the society, passion of getting intellectual joy, and passion of getting respectability in the society. Business houses also need research professionals, and they have also started emphasizing its need. The purpose of business research is to find the goals and opportunities of a business house. The research work plays a critical role in taking business goals and decisions in appropriately allocating the available resources. In short, we can say that the need of research work helps in the following ways. Number one, keep one's knowledge up to date, increase knowledge base, encourages curiosity, and creates a spark. What are the objectives of research? The basic purpose of research is to explore answers to the queries through the application of scientific methods and procedures. The objective of research should address the underlying purpose of investigation and analysis. It should outline the steps you had to take to achieve desirable outcomes. The objectives of research should be closely related to the problem statement, giving way to specific and achievable goals. The objectives may vary and are classified as to gain familiarity with a phenomena or to achieve new insights to it of the event yet to happen. For example, mysteries of nature. Second one, to determine the frequency with which something occurs or with which it is associated with something else, that is, health problem. To portray accurately the characteristics of a particular individual situation or a group. For example, socio-economic problems in an organization. Next one is to test a hypothesis of a causal relationship between variables and developing new tools, concepts, and theories for a better study of resources available. What are the assumptions normally made in research? Since research work is also treated as a science, we have to take care of some assumptions before reaching to some conclusion. In the Dictionary of Statistics and Methodology, W. Paul Watts defines an assumption as a statement that is presumed to be true, often only temporarily or for a specific purpose, such as building a theory, and the condition under which statistical techniques yield valid results, such as in the case study. Some common assumptions to consider are: number one, the participants will answer the interview questions in an honest and a candid manner. Number two, participants have a sincere interest in participating in your research and do not have any other motives, such as getting a better grade in a course, if they are college students, or impressing their job supervisors because they agreed to do it in your study. There may be some other assumptions that are unique to one's research design. Now, what is the area of application of research? There is not a single way to define the application of research, but this is a fact that research is done as there is some application. It is done with an aim, and the aim has its own significance. Some research are done with the aim to provide benefit to the masses, while other research can be done with a very specific reason. We can see that what are the areas where research is being done, can be done, and has been done. Right? For example, human resource management, marketing research, knowledge management, supply chain and forecasting, e-businesses, system analysis, organization behavior, operations management, and financial management. These are some of the basics what we remember the words. What are the types of research? Presentation of data by applying different methods and techniques in an amicable manner is called research methodology. The applied procedures enhances the research process and identify the way in which it is carried out. There are various methods to explain the idea of research being carried out by the researcher. The selection of the method purely depends upon the researcher, that is his choice, which on which behalf on what theory he is looking to do a research. Research is classified into different forms on the basis of intent and methods. The following are the different types of the research. We'll start with descriptive versus analytical research. Descriptive research includes surveys or fact-finding queries of different types. The major purpose of descriptive research description of the state of affairs as it exists at present. The main characteristics of this method is that the researcher has no control over the variables. He can only report what has happened or what is happening. Whereas in analytical research, on the other hand, the researcher has to use facts or information already available and analyzes this to make a critical evaluation of the material. Second one is applied versus fundamental. Research can be applied or action research fundamental or it is pure research. Applied research aims at finding a solution for an immediate problem facing a society or an organization, whereas fundamental research is mainly concerned with the generalization and the formulation of a theory. Gathering knowledge for knowledge is termed as pure research. Research studies concerning natural phenomena, human behavior, etc., are examples of fundamental research. But research aims at certain conclusion facing a concrete social problem is an example of applied research. Qualitative versus quantitative. Quantitative research is based on the measurement of quantity or amount. It is applicable to a phenomena, that is phenomenon relating to or involving quality or kind. Whereas qualitative research is especially important in the behavioral science, where the aim is to discover the underlying motives of human behavior. Fourth one is conceptual versus empirical. Conceptual research is that related to some abstract ideas for theory. It is generally used by philosophers and thinkers to develop the new concept or to interpret existing ones. On the other hand, empirical research relies on experiments or observation alone, often without due regard for system of theory. It is data-based research coming up with conclusions which are capable of being variables of observation and experiment. Now, this is a representation which includes different types of researches. We talk about the types of research, which can be broadly classified applicative, that is application, objective, or inquiry mode. If we talk about the applications, it can be applied research or pure research. If it is objective oriented, so it can be descriptive or exploratory, or it can be a conventional research or an explanatory research. If we move to the inquiry mode, it is it can be either qualitative or quantitative. What is the significance of research? Research work is carried out in various fields. For example, applied economics. Here it deals with the economics or to the business as a whole. Research plays a significant role in solving various operational and planning problems in the business and in industry. Critical part is being played by operational research, market research, and motivational research, which assists in more than one way in attaining the objectives of the business. Valuable information is provided. It provides information and opportunities about the value of existing and new products, thus helping business plan and strategy accordingly. Customer centric. It helps to determine what the customer needs and what. Marketing is customer centric and understanding the customer and their needs with the help of business design product or services that best suits them. It is helpful in forecasting. By understanding the need of customers, businesses can also forecast their production and sales. Market research also helps in determining optimum inventory stock. Competitive advantage is also there. To stay ahead of competitors' market, research is a vital tool to carry out comparative studies. Businesses can devise business strategies that can help them to stay ahead of their competitors. Now the basic question is I used a one operational research and throughout our study this will be a word which will be used. To make it understand, we will be discussing about operational research. Operational research may be defined as the application of scientific methods, techniques, and tools to problem solving involving the operations of a system so as to provide those in the control of the system with optimum solution to the problems. In fact, in operational research, research techniques and scientific methods are employed for the analysis and also for studying the current or future problems. Thus, operational research offers alternative plan for a problem to the management for decision. It is very clear that operational research never makes decision for the management. Instead, the method presents management with a careful, scientific, and quantitative analysis of a problem so that the management will be in a better position to make sound decisions. Operational research is used for solving different types of problems, such as problems dealing with the waiting line, arrival of units or persons requiring service, problems dealing with the allocation of material or activities among limited facilities, equipment place replacement problems, problems dealing with production processing, that is production control and material shipment. Some of the problems which can be analyzed by operations research are marketing, purchasing, and personnel management. Now comes motivation research. Motivation research is the currently popular form used to describe the application of psychiatric or psychological technique to obtain a better understanding of why people respond as they do to products, ads, and various other marketing situations. Motivation research is used as it leads to useful insights and provides inspiration to creative person in the advertising and packing world. Motivation research can help in measuring changes in attitudes, thus advertising research. Strategies to position the offer of the company in a particular market segment should be based on findings of motivation research. Knowledge and measurement of attitudes provide us with an imaginative market segmentation tool and also enables estimating market potential of each additional segment. Now, what is research methods and methodology? Or we can say what is the difference between research methods and methodology? Researchers use different methods during the course of conducting research. This requires a systematic and rigorous search for appropriate information on the specific topic. This involves selection of problem, development of hypotheses, collecting of a required data, analyzing the data, and drawing the required conclusion. The research methods are often confused with research methodology, which implies the scientific analysis of the research methods so as to find a solution to the problem of study. Research methodology, as the name suggests, is the study of methods to solve the research problem. It is the science of learning the way research should be performed systematically. It refers to the rigorous analysis of the methods applied during the study of research to ensure that the conclusion drawn are valid, reliable, and credible. Now we can see what is the difference between what are the criteria, what are the criteria of comparison between research method and research methodology. As far as your research methods are concerned, it comprises of the methods employed by the researcher to conduct a study. Whereas research methodology, it signifies the way to effectively solve the research problem under the study. We use the word specify. But what does this research methodology specify? It shows the behavior and tools used in the selection and construction of a research problem. Whereas research methodology depicts the science of understanding how research is performed methodologically. What does it encloses? Research methods includes conducting experiments, surveys, tests, etc. Whereas research methodology is a study of different techniques which can be used in the performance of experiments, surveys, tests, etc. Research method consists of different investigations and techniques, whereas research methodology consists of whole strategy in achieving the objectives of the study. As far as the objectives are concerned, the basic objective of methods are to obtain a solution to the problem under study. But whereas the basic objective of research methodology is to apply correct method procedure so as to determine the solution of the problem. Difference between research method and methodology is very much clear now. The study of research methodology is wider than that of research methods, as the latter is a part of the former. For understanding the research problem thoroughly, the researcher should know the research methodology along with the methods. What are the elements of quantitative research methods? The main element of quantitative research design are research design. A quantitative research designs are either descriptive or experimental. Descriptive design are where we measure an association between two variables, independent and dependent variables. Here, sample sizes are typically large. For example, your survey related to thousands of local male or female of a particular region. The subjects are usually only measured once. Whereas in an experimental design, subjects are usually measured both before and after the treatment, and you are looking for causality. Here, the sample size is small. For example, analyzing the treatment for a small number of cancer patients. Choice of data collection instrument. General methods used for data collection are survey or questionnaires with closed-ended questions using data from other sources or an experiment with a control group and an experimental group. Then comes choice of the analysis tool, which is related to statistics. For example, we might use to report the results using confidence intervals and test statistics from t-test or f-test with significance levels alpha, beta, gamma, delta, its basic research methods. Archival research, using archives for research work such as rare books, historical records, and other historical data like yearbooks. Content analysis, analyzing texts. Inferences can then be made about the writer, the audience, and the culture surrounding those texts. Case study. Case studies are usually performed on an individual or small group of individuals. A detailed history is taken for some aspects of the particular participant's life. For example, we might make a case study of a group of 15 smokers on their smoking frequency, personal history, and home life. Interview. In an interview, we meet face to face with the participants. This practice is preferred. Here, the questions can be closed, where participants are given a choice of answers, or open questions, and thoughtful and in-depth responses are expected. But these are the methods of collecting data. Observational study. In this type of study, the researchers observe participants without any kind of inference. Here, the participants are placed on in two types of groups, with one experimental group and one control group. For example, smokers and non-smokers. Survey. In this type of survey study, which involves a representative sample of the population, using a technique like random sampling, a question is given to each member of the sample and used to study the characteristics of the whole population. Surveys can be difficult to put into practice mainly because of a typically low response rate but are easy in theoretical practice. Now, this diagram basically depicts primary research. It is divided into two branches, that is quantitative data and qualitative data. If we talk about quantitative data, so it comprises of surveys, which includes personal interview, mails, in-house self-administered, telephone, fax, email, web. And on the other hand, it can be experiments, mechanical observations, or simulation. If we talk about qualitative data, It is to focus groups, individual depth interview, human observation, case studies. What are the different mathematical tools of research? It can be a statistical technique or it can be an operational research model. If we talk about statistical technique, here what we do, how mathematics come into play, how analysis is done. We have to use measure of central tendency, which includes mean, mode, median. And we have to sometimes measure, you use measure of dispersion, which includes variance, coefficient of skewness, quadrile deviation. And other methods are forecasting methods, factorial design, sampling methods, test of hypothesis, factor analysis. And if we talk about operational research model, these are all the models or the techniques which are used in operational research. Linear programming, integer programming, network technique, which includes CPM and PERT, project management, inventory control, dynamic programming, queuing theory, replacement analysis, game theory, goal programming, simulation, and production schedule. Now, how research is done? What are the different methods? Research methods are the strategies, processes, or techniques utilized in collection of data or evidence for analysis in order to uncover new information or create better understanding of a topic. There are different types of research methods which are used, and different tools are used for collecting data. Start with survey method. As the name suggests, survey is a fact-finding study. In this process, the data is collected directly from the population or a sample at a time. Basic requirement is an expert and imaginative planning, careful analysis, and rational interpretation of the study. Data is collected by observation, phone, mailing questionnaire, or by interview. As per the objectives of the study, the collected data can be analyzed by simple or complex statistical techniques. Here, the approach of working can be a direct approach, such as the researchers ask the questions directly from the behavior and thoughts. For example, why don't you eat almond butter? In direct approach, the researchers may ask what kind of people use almond butter. The advantage of this method is that the researcher may collect direct different kind of information, and here the cost is low and the data collection is quick as compared to observation and experimental methods. Another method is case study. Case study is a method of exploring and analyzing the life of a social unit. The social unit may be a person or a family, or an institution, or an organization, or even a community. It is a method of collecting information and its analysis. It is a way of organizing social data so as to preserve the unitary character of the social object being studied. The case study method is a widely used systematic field research technique. Anthropologists, historians, novelists, and dramatists have used this method concerning problems pertaining to their area of interest. Event management experts use case study methods for getting clues to several management problems. Major phases involved are diagnosis and identification of causal factors as a basis for remedial or developmental treatment. Application of remedial measures, for example, treatment and therapy. Follow-up program to determine effectiveness of the treatment applied, etc. What are the different research methods? In short, we can see from this diagram can be interview, focus group, dissertations, research design, surveys, case studies, statistics, literature review. Field studies. These are scientific enquiries aimed at discovering the relations between psychological, sociological, and educational variables in social institutions or actual situations like factories, colleges, organizations, etc. Here, the relations between attitudes, value, perception, and behavior in a particular conditions are selected and studied. Scientific method. Carl Pearson writes, the scientific method is one and same in the branches of science, and that method is the method of all logically trained minds. The unity of all sciences consists alone in its method, not in its material. The man who classifies fact for any kind, whatever, who sees their mutual relation and describes their sequences in applying the scientific method, and is a man of science. Scientific method is the pursuit of truth as determined by logical considerations. The scientific method is based on certain basic postulates, which include it depends on empirical evidence, it uses relevant concepts, committed to only objective considerations, and it aims at making only adequate and correct statements about population objects. The results obtained are probabilistic predictions, and it helps in formulating most general axioms or what can be termed as scientific theories. Scientific method is a combination of objective, logical, and systematic method. That is, a method free from personal bias, a method to show qualities of a phenomenon enables capable of being verified. A method wherein the researcher is supported by the rules of logical reasoning, a method wherein the investigation moves in an orderly manner, and a method that implies internal consistency. Some other types of researches are historical research, which is that it utilizes historical sources like documents, remains, etc., to study events or ideas of the past, including the philosophy of persons and group at that remote point of time. Second one is field setting or laboratory research or simulation research. The research is carried out in the field and it's called field research or research carried out in laboratory. It is a laboratory research depending upon the environment in which it has to be carried out. Clinical or diagnostic research. Such researches follows case study method or in-depth approaches to reach the basic causal relations. Such studies usually do deep into the causes of things or events that interest us, using very small samples and very deep probing data gathering devices. One-time research or longitudinal research. Research confined to single time period is called one-time research. Research is carried on several time period is called longitudinal research. Social research. Social research refers to research conducted by social scientists. It is the scientific investigation conducted in the field of social science and also in the behavioral science. The research is a systematic method of exploring, analyzing, and conceptualizing social life in order to expand, correct, or verify knowledge. Social research methods are generally vary along a quantitative or qualitative dimensions. Educational research. It is the activity which is directed towards a development of a science of behavior in education situation. The methods in which individuals evaluate different aspects of education, including students' learning, teaching methods, teacher training, and classroom dynamics, and so on. What is the importance of business research? Business research plays a critical role in day to day business activities. It helps to solve simple or complex problems like increasing sales of a particular product in a particular market segment and introducing a new product or starting a new business. For new ideas and insight, research includes scientific and rational thinking, and it promotes the development of logical habits of thinking and organization. The role of research in several fields of applied economics, whether related to business or to the economy, has considerably increased in modern times. Solving operational problems. The complex nature of business and government has focused attention on the use of research in solving operational problems. Research provides the basis of nearly all government policies in our economic system. Decisions for policymaking. Through research, we can devise alternative policies and examine the consequences of each policymaker. Decision making may not be a part of research, but research certainly facilitates the policymakers' decisions. Solving problems. Research has special significance in solving problems and industry, operational and planning problems. Research is usually equally essential for social scientists in studying social relationships, seeking answer to various social problems, and providing practical guidance in solving immediate problems of human relations. Firms also conduct research in their core areas to find problem related specific situations. For example, if it is related to products. For testing, introducing a new product for existing or new product line extension proposed. Identifying product core value attitudes that attract customers most, such as product packaging related research and increased product shelf life. Second one is price. Understanding the target segment, people's price sensitiveness related to goods or services incurred cost. Understand whether consumers treated price as a significant entity or for the perceived value measurement. Place. Identification of suitable platform or areas for business transaction purposes and took a preventive measurement basis of satisfaction corporation prospects between supplier and distributors. Fourth one is promotion. Identify effective, efficient media platform for running products ad and choosing telecast frequency time ads. Besides that, decide how much money we should invest for promoting or promotional activities. Business decisions. Operational research, market research, and motivational research are considered crucial and their results assist in making business decisions in more than one way. And for students, to those students who are to write master's or PhD thesis, research may mean careerism or a way to attain a high position in the social structure. It helps to understand the researcher as a user of the library. To generalize the new theory to analysts and intellectuals, research may mean the generalization of new theories, develops a critical and scientific attitude, disciplined thinking or absent of mind, to observe objectivity, scientific deduction, and inductive thinking. Research skills will pay off in the long term, particularly in the age of information. Now, we move to Unit 2, which includes what are the steps in research process. A research methodology is a scientific act of obtaining facts, examining and interpreting facts to solve issues that society faces. Research process is a roadmap for a researcher and it gives an overview of researchers' research journey. Researchers must have clarified two critical questions. One, what research questions answers you are finding? And after deciding on the research question, the second question comes, how do you find out the research question's answer? Research methodology is the process of determining the answers to your research questions. So, to obtain the research question's answer, you must go through the series of experimental stages in your research process. However, the sequence of steps may change or it is not fixed in nature. Based on the researcher's experiences, steps may change. Ultimately, the researcher chooses a diversity of methods, procedures for the research process. Research process consists of series of actions or steps necessary to effectively carry out research and the desired sequencing of these steps. What basically the steps include? We have to define a research problem. We have to review the concepts and theories. Review again the previous research file, what has been performed earlier. Now we have to formulate objective and hypothesis. When the step 3 has been completed, then we have to think over to design research, which includes sampling design. When sampling design has been thought for, data collection is there, and after that, data analysis has to be. And once the data has been analyzed, then a conclusion has to be drawn and it has to be reported. That is, right, a report has to be written. That is, which is what we call it as report writing. The figure indicates the processes which consist of number of closely related activities. If subsequent procedures have not been taken into account in the early stages, serious difficulties may arise, which may even prevent the completion of the study. Define research problems. A problem that someone would like to research. It is anything that a person finds unsatisfactory or unsettling, a difficulty of some sort, a state of affairs that needs to be changed. A problem involves areas of concern to researchers. For condition they want to improve, difficulties they want to eliminate, questions for which they want to seek answers. Research problem refers to some difficulty, need, which a researcher experiences in the context of either theoretical or practical situation and wants to obtain a solution for the same. In simple words, research problem is a statement of the information needed by a decision maker to solve a management decision problem. What is the importance of research problem? Formulation of research problem is the first and the most essential step in the research process. And it makes more like choosing your destination before starting the journey. As it is impossible to conduct a good research study without an apparent research problem because it acts as a research foundation. Moreover, without a good research problem, researchers cannot determine its subsequent steps and cannot choose their methodology, directly affecting their economic plan. What the points to ponder on research problem. The following points should be kept in mind while defining a research problem. A right question must be addressed if research is to the aid decision makers. A correct answer to the wrong question leads either to a poor advice or to no advice. And the second one is very often in research problems, we have a tendency to rationalize and defend our actions once we have embarked upon a particular research plan. The best time to review and consider alternative approaches is in the planning stage. If this is done, needless cost of false start and redoing work could be avoided. A good starting point in problem definition is to ask what the decision maker would like to know if the requested information could be obtained without error and without cost. Another rule to follow is never settle on a particular approach without developing and considering at least one alternative. And the fifth one is the problem definition step of research is the determination and structuring of the decision maker's question. It must be decision maker question and not the researcher's question. Now, what are the sources of research topics? In general, humanities, occupational or academic based study revolves around four P's: problem, people, phenomena, and programs. And the emphasis of each P varies based from study to study. But in general practice, research has considered at least two P's. Every study has two aspects area. People provides researchers study population, and the other three P's problem, phenomena, and program provides subject area. So it's very simple to select a topic. Researchers must decide the general area of interest or aspect of a subject matter. Initially, the problem may be stated in broad general way. However, understanding the problem thoroughly, the problem statement should rephrase into meaningful terms from an analytical point of view. The best way of understanding the problem is to discuss with colleagues, experts in college and in educational institutes with guides for the help to find a problem. Researchers must at time examine all available literatures to get himself acquainted with the selected problem. What are the considerations in selecting a research problem? There are many important things to keep in mind while considering a research topic or problem. These considerable parameters will ultimately ensure their study goes smoothly in a manageable way so they do not lose their motivation. Some of them are interest. This is the primary criteria for selecting any topic or problem because the study generally entails many more difficulty, time consuming, and unforeseen problems. Number two is magnitude. Our researchers must have good knowledge about the research process so that they can correctly visualize the task involved related to the proposed study. Third one is measurement of concept. While using any concept in your study, make its indicator and measurement clear. The fourth one is level of expertise. As a researcher, you have to ensure that you have proper knowledge or expertise for your proposed task. What are the steps in formulating a research problem? Following steps will help those researchers who does not even decide their research area, topic, and questions. The following process will help researchers narrow down their vast research area into sub-areas that would become your research problem. Identification of broad subject areas according to your interest. Second one can be separate the broad area into sub areas. Third, select one subtopic or sub area that is perceived most in the interest. Or you can raise a question and list all the possible questions that comes to your mind. And if the listed question is too many for a manageable perspective, then follow step 1 to 3. Formulate research objectives and sub-objectives which depend on research questions. Evaluate objective viability in a light of human, time, and financial resources. This task of formulating or defining a research problem is a step of great importance in the entire process system. The above step in formulating a research problem can be divided into two activities: identification or selection to the research problem and formulation of the research problem. Now, the thing is that why this is being taught, as all have to appear or have to complete your project work. This is the question that normally learners ask. I'm doing this MD and I want to start a project. I have to complete my project work. Everyone has to have a clear study of this paper or this topic basically, which will support them in analyzing the basic question of your project work. Identification or selection of the research problem. This step involves identification of a few problems and selection of one out of them after evaluating the alternatives against certain selection criteria. There are different sources from which the researchers can find the research problem. The sources of research problem can be reading, academic experience, daily experience and exposure to field, situations, consultations, brainstorming, and intuition. Criteria of selection. The selection of one appropriate researchable problem out of the identified problems require evaluation of these alternatives against certain criteria. They are internal or personal criteria, researchers' interest, researchers' competence, researchers' own resources, finance, and time. External criteria factors are research ability of the person, importance and urgency, novelty of the problem, feasibility, facilities, usefulness, and social relevance. Research, personal, so many things are involved. Formulation of research problem. Formulation is the process of refining the research ideas into research questions and objectives. Formulation means translating and transforming the selected research problems, topics, ideas into a scientifically researchable question. It is concerned with specifying exactly what the research problem is. Essentially, two steps are involved in formulating research problems. Understanding the problem thoroughly. The most important way of understanding the problem is decision with or discussion with colleagues or persons who are expert in knowledge or skills. The problem is also studied using literature survey. After understanding the problem, it is expressed in more specific terms to make a problem simple and clear. And the second one is expressing the problem in more specified terms or more clear. Problem definition or problem statement is a clear, precise, and concise statement of the question or issue that has to be investigated with the goal of finding an answer to the solution. There are two ways of starting a problem: posting questions or questions, making declarative statement or statements. Hence, the steps involved in the process of defining the problem are statement of the problem in a general way, understanding the nature of the problem, surveying the available literatures, developing ideas through discussions, rephrasing the research problem. The good research problem should meet the criteria of clear and ambiguous, empirically possible to solve, should be able to verify the facts, interesting to pursue, findings the solution, and should be able to check the availability of the supervision. What are the characteristics of good research question? The good research question must have below the four important characteristics. The question is feasible, that is, it can be investigated without an undue amount of time, energy, or money. Second one is the question is clear. The most people would agree as a what the key of the words the question means. And the third one is the question is significant. That is, what is the worth investigating it contribute important knowledge about human conditions. D, the question is ethical. That is, it will not involve physical or psychological harm or damage to human feelings or to natural or social environment of which they are a part. Research problems as hypothesis testing. With this, we will be concluding this session, and in our next session, we will be continuing with this topic